Hey everyone, welcome back to GM Details, and in this video I'll be looking at just how economical a maintenance clean on your car can be, and the challenge will be the total cost of all the chemicals used will be less than £1. This was the original lineup for the video, but we had to make a substitution at the end of the day to keep it within the budget and what the owner had wanted. So one of these has to go, so there's more about that later. I was desperate to try out the new formulation for Built Amber Touchless Pre-Wash. It's now double the strength it was previously, meaning you obviously use less chemical. So only 20 millilitres in a litre of warm water was used here in this IK pump sprayer. So that's the pre-wash taken care of. It's claimed to be so good at this dilution that it doesn't need a snow foam or Surfex to back it up. Using it as a foam would blow the budget completely, so I'm hoping it lives up to the hype. As for the wheels, I'll be pre-cleaning them with the Touchless to remove as much dirt and grime as possible before using Garage Therapy's wheel shampoo, which it too has been supercharged, and you only need to use 20 millilitres of shampoo in a large bucket of water. I'm using just 5 millilitres in this IK foamer, as I like to use a foaming cleaner on wheels, and I've got 800 millilitres of warm water making up that solution, and the cost for that is only 11 pence. Built Amber recommend up to 5 minutes dwell time for touchless, which is fine in these cloudy conditions today. It stayed wet on the wheels without any signs of it drying out, but obviously in warmer days you'll have to keep an eye on it and rinse it off quicker. You might get slightly longer dwell with it using it as a foam, but with today's budget only allowing up to £1 in total cost of chemicals, 160 mils would have blown it completely. I'm going to use this front wheel as an example, as they all had the same results. Touchless removed, I'd say, up to a good 80 to 90% of the dirt on these 18-inch ST wheels. When you consider how they looked before and now after, it's a great start to not need anything stronger. I'm using the large EZ detail brush, which fits easily around the wheel and caliper, which makes a nice change, and it means I can get around the whole wheel quicker and there's less dirt to worry about thanks to the pre-wash with Touchless. Obviously, if you wanted to keep using one brand of choice, you could use Garage Therapy's Zero Decon or Citrus as the pre-wash, and as a wheel cleaner you could use Built Amber Surfex HD at around 10% dilution. For the wheel faces, I'm using a microfiber wheel mitt from Garage Therapy. I would generally use some wheel shampoo in a bucket just to add that little bit more lubricity to the pad, but once again it would increase costs, and to be perfectly honest, on these wheels it's actually not needed. So for the tyres, well, you could hopefully see there's already a hydrophobic dressing still working there, so I'm just lightly brushing over the sidewalls with the Detail Factory tyre brush with the residue of the shampoo, just to remove any dirt within the lettering or grooves of the tyre, and just a generic El Cheapo boar hair detailing brush for the wheel nut area, and that's pretty much it for this wheel. Oh, I nearly forgot to clean behind the spokes. Some might skip this for a maintenance clean, but it's a routine I've got used to, just to take that extra 5 minutes per wheel and run the wash mitt around. Regular cleaning really does help prevent a heavy build-up of that brake dust. So here we have the new version 2 of Built Hamber Touchless Pre-Wash. They're calling it a snow foam, but as you can see it works equally well as a liquid in a sprayer for application and fits particularly well within budget at only 20 pence for 2% panel impact ratio. Or in this case, it's simply the dilution that I'm using it at, and there's no complicated mathematics to work out what panel impact ratio is fit for your foam lands. If you want to see an easy to understand video on panel impact ratios, I'll link my friend Mark's video from Sparkling Autos in the description for you to check out. It's honestly the easiest method that you'll ever see on YouTube. If there's anyone new to Built Hamber products watching, this is a revised version of their sugar-based pre-wash, an eco-friendly, non-caustic formula that's doubled in concentration from their last version, making it not only cost-effective, but one of the best pre-cleaning chemicals in today's market, if it works. I'm mainly applying the solution to the lower parts of the car as that's where the most amount of dirt is, and if there's any left over, I'll spray the roof. And I'm already getting a bit of product anxiety as I've used around 200 millilitres on the wheels. But it is helping that I'm using the new IK Multi Pro 2 360 sprayer, that's a mouthful. If you noticed at the start of the video when I was mixing up the chemicals, it's got a flexible pickup tube like the MJJC Lances, and it allows the product to flow even when the sprayer is tilted at an angle. Although, as I'm using it to cover the roof, it's just started to run out, but that's okay. I've already covered the car in as much as I need to. More about the IK360 coming up in a future video. The moment of truth now, and after a dwell of around 5 minutes, it's time to rinse off. I'll take you in closer in a second, but one thing to note is there's absolutely no residue on the ground. It doesn't leave any foamy mess using it as a spray, which I love, as my drive sits on a hill and there's nothing worse than your cleaning residues floating down to the neighbour's driveway. I hope you can see what I'm seeing here. I've made the video in 4K, so I hope it's visible. But from that small area I've rinsed, just look at the traffic film that is cleaned, leaving virtually nothing behind. A quick look at before and after with the faintest of tan line just above the after graphic. Let's have a look at the passenger door. And yes, I'm working from the bottom up so that I can see what I'm removing, and hopefully you can see the door going from a yellowy brown back to white again. So onto the rear of the car where the most amount of dirt accumulates, and it's a better 50-50 here. Built Hamber say that it's a free rinsing detergent. That means it won't leave any residue behind when rinsed properly, and it's also got rust inhibitors in it, so it's safer on any exposed metal components like brake discs. A point worth noting that it really does benefit from being removed with a pressure washer. You can see on the right side of the bumper that the rinse water is flowing down and over the dirt, and it's not removing the traffic film until the spray is actually directly waved over that dirt. Incidentally, one of the reasons that I'm using this car is that it's just been recently given a 12-month ceramic coating by a detailing company local to the owner, like 3 months ago, so that I could see if the dirt was easier to remove than say mine, which has only recently had a spray and rinse type sealant when I come to compare the difference in cleaning power, but I'm having doubts looking at the rinse off whether it's still on it at this stage. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and we'll take another look at it after the contact wash. Now, with Built Hamber Auto Wash not being the cheapest shampoo on the market, it's one of the most concentrated, and with only 5ml of product required per 10 litres of water, that's a 2000 to 1 dilution. I went with exactly that. Normally I'd like to use at least 20 litres of water for a contact wash. That would have doubled the cost. It is a Fiesta and not exactly the largest car to clean, so here goes using this solution, which even with the £16.95 a bottle, 5ml has only cost 17 pence. I've used Built Hamber Auto Wash before and only once. I must admit this time the experience was slightly better than the first time, but only just. It's a really good shampoo. I'm not knocking it. It's got everything I like in a shampoo. It's got slickness, reasonably sudsy and easy to rinse away without any gloss enhancers or any silicones. It just didn't top my favourite shampoo. Let me know in the comments what your favourite car shampoo is and why. So 10 litres of shampoo solution was actually ample. I thought I'd have to add more water, but I didn't need to. Apologies for the suds on the lens throughout the wash there. So what's your thoughts looking at this rinse off? Do you think there's any protection after that contact wash? Could it be clogged? And what do you think has been applied on this B-pillar? It does have a feeling of tyre dressing to me. The final part of the rinse down is the door shuts. Sometimes it's possible that some dirt may have been sprayed back into the sills with the rinse, so either switch off the pressure washer, or if you're careful, a quick spritz gets rid of any shampoo residue. Just don't forget to dry off this area later, or you might get some water spots or even a black line running down the side below the door. I like to use a quick detailer and a microfiber for this job. I've just bought one of these Because Race Car Box extra large drying towels. They're single sided, lightweight microfiber loop 650 GSM and measures 90 by 70 centimetres. To prime them it's best to dry the glass first. That softens up the fibres and helps to reduce any marring from any dry fibres. This towel reminds me of my first drying towel I bought many years ago, and it was a Fireball Premium, and it was the start of the twisted loop type that is commonly used today. It's an easy to manage towel without that weight of the double-sided ones, and remember, a 1200 GSM double-sided drying towel isn't any plusher than this one. That's 600 GSM on each side, something I didn't know till recently, and it was actually quite a surprise. So as you can see, I don't like to rub a drying towel all over the paint, and also I don't use a quick detailer or a rinse aid with them either. The problem with using these is when the towel absorbs all of the protective nature of the quick detailer, the towel becomes hydrophobic and it's almost impossible to get it back. So the only other tip I can mention with drying towels is start from the glass, just to prime the fibres as I've mentioned, work from the top down and just be methodical. There's no rush. If you find the towel isn't really picking up any more water, wring it out or use another if you have one, and don't use the same towel on the wheels. So, can you clean a car using less than £1 worth of chemicals? The answer of course is yes, of course you can. Providing of course you choose a brand or brands which offer quality concentrated products which give you the best value for money, and avoid spending money on products like ready to use pre-wash or all-purpose cleaner. There are of course many products you can't dilute, like a fallout remover or a tar remover, so let's take a look at what was used and what it cost. For a pre-wash, remember I used the new Built Hamber Touchless with only needing 2% dilution. That was 20ml in 980ml of water to do the wheel pre-wash and the bodywork, so that came in at 20p. For the wheels I used Garage Therapy 1 wheel shampoo and only 5ml was needed there, and around 800ml of water in that IK foamer. And that easily managed to stretch to all 4 wheels and tyres for a very reasonable 11p. For the bodywork I used Built Hamber Auto Wash Shampoo, a first use on the channel, and only 5ml was needed, again in 10 litres of water to clean the glass and body of the car, all for a pittance of 17p, making a grand total cost of the wash to be 48p. That also makes it under €1, under $1, and also under $1 Australian too. That is amazing. Now remember I said at the beginning of the video that one of the products was substituted. I was going to clean the glass, which would only have used around 15 sprays, possibly 23p worth of product, which isn't good. It's bloody fantastic, but that wouldn't have left anything for that finishing touch, the quick detailer. Now Built Hamber do have a dilutable quick detailer called Auto QD, funnily enough, but for a high-end gloss finish it's a 1 to 2 dilution. Granted, you only need maybe around 30 to 50ml to get around a car of this size with that, but 1, I didn't have it, and 2, the glass was already clean enough with the auto wash anyway, so I opted for Halford's quick detailer. I did a review of the Halford's Advanced range a few weeks ago and I'd forgotten I had this one, so this was the chosen quick detailer to finish off the shoestring shine. So approximately 20 sprays all in around the car, with the trigger delivering approximately 1.2ml of product per spray. That works out at 48p just on the quick detailer alone. Expensive when you consider we got the whole car cleaned for the same cost. So what was the quick detailer like? Well, it was easy to use, flashed off pretty well, buffed extremely easily, and it left a good shine and slick feeling to the paintwork, making the white paint just sharp like ice. What more can you ask for?